Hi, everyone, and welcome to Murder Friends, the podcast where three friends from three different countries talk about murder. My name's Alana, and I'm Canadian.
I'm Anna, and I'm American.
My name's Hannah, and I'm British.
So sit back and relax, you're among friends, and let's talk murder.
Well, there's kind of a major thing going on in the world right now, and obviously our episode was delayed. We usually release on a Wednesday at the same time, but been a little delayed. Everybody's had a lot going on. Which is to be expected. So Hannah and I are in the UK and here currently, and for the last almost, was it about a week and a half? Has it been now? Or 2 weeks? 2 weeks?
Yeah, Monday last week, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, so, God, it seems like 3 months, but actually
it does seem
it's not really
seems like long ago.
I know. So we're on pretty much like, you can only go out for essential work and like groceries. And you're allowed to go out and like exercise for a
Once a day.
Once a day.
Only once a day. Yeah.
One exercise a day. Alana is in Canada, and what is going on there where you are?
It's pretty much the same here. Basically, everything is shut. Only essential businesses are open, and we don't have that one walk rule. It's crazy to think, like, you have to count how many times you go outside, like, to walk around the block or whatever. But here, basically, you just can't be in groups. And, like, if you go for a walk, you need to be, like, with the people that you're quarantined with, like, your little group. But otherwise, it's just, like, it's like a ghost town, really. It's kind of eerie. I had to go to the doctor's, actually, which was really nerve-wracking. And just like driving through the downtown, like, you don't really see anybody, and it's the middle of the day and it's like a nice day, and you just, like, everybody is inside. Thankfully, most people are inside, but yeah, it's just really creepy.
It is like that here as well. We got ghosts. Hannah and I live near town, and I live right around the town we live in, and it's so weird. It's so quiet. That's the weirdest thing, because I'm used to, and you all might hear when we record, you can hear stuff in the background for me. Buses, they've even reduced buses. They've reduced like everything, and it's bizarre. So what have you guys been eating? Have you been good about it? Have you been snacking more than usual? A lot of cheese. What's going on?
Ugh. My problem is, so we're in the same boat in Canada where they only want you to go to the store for essentials. So they kind of recommend if you go to the shops like once a week. So we'll go once a week and we do a huge, like, buy one of everything kind of thing and then come home. But then immediately I'm like, ooh, we've got all these new snacks, of which I would like to have some. And then they very quickly start dwindling down to then you're left with all, like, the crap stuff, the stuff you don't want, or all the things that were in the freezer that have been in the freezer for like 6 years because nobody wants it. So you're stuck with, like, all the crap. So that's my problem right now. I'm trying to get better at it is save the snacks, or at least ration the snacks so they last longer.
Snack ration. I love it.
I made the mistake of, it's not a mistake. So my husband's doing the shop, and actually, to be honest, normally I will do it, and I usually do. We're all quite busy, and my daughter's in school, and then I work and do all that, and he's working. So we don't actually, like, have tons of, like, family meals during the week at all, just because we're all kind of going in different directions. But he's kind of the one just going to the store because he doesn't want me to go out. He's like, no, you guys just stay. So I send him with a list because I've, like, been really organized and planning what we're going to eat and everything. But then he is the worst. He buys crisps and chips and chocolate and all sorts of little cakes, and then he does, like, tea time where we sit down by the fire and, like, have tea and biscuits, and I'm like, I can't. But then, of course, because it's here, I'm eating it out of boredom. So yeah, I'm gonna have to really, like, put my foot down. I was like, stop buying it, because I will eat it. That's why I don't normally buy it, is because I literally I'll eat it. I put Scrabble on my phone. so yeah, wow, okay. Yeah, I like never play games on my phone, but I found myself, my work is picked back up. It did slow, and then it's this week, it started to pick back up again. So, but just, there's a lot more office-based stuff to do, so that's good. But for a while there, yeah, I was, like, playing Scrabble on my phone and watching, we started watching Ozark, because I never watched it, and everyone's like, whoa, what, you've never watched that? It's amazing. What else? Oh, and we got Disney Plus, which has just been made available. I don't know if you got it, Hannah, but it's only just come out in the UK, right? Like, been available. Where I don't know if in Canada and the US it's been out for like ages.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, my sister has it. I think it like maybe 6 months or something.
Alana, what have you been watching? Or doing?
I have. I've tried to watch a movie every night. So I had a list on Netflix and just on my computer as well of like a watch list, basically. So those films have been on that list for, I don't know, before I was born. And I never watched them. So now every night I make a point of not thinking about it too hard. I just pick one and I'll put it on and then I watch it. So I've gotten through like, God, so many movies. And I was cleaning out because I'm staying at my parents' house for however long this thing lasts. I was going through like I have like a bunch of boxes in the basement of like all my old stuff that they kept and they weren't really sure about. So I went through that stuff and was like getting rid of stuff. And I used to knit a fair amount when I was younger. And I found this, I guess you could call it a project that I must have started maybe like 7 years ago. And it's this really skinny rectangle. Like it kind of looked like it could have been a scarf, but I made it really, really skinny for some reason. And so now my mission is to knit that rectangle until we get out of lockdown. So I've almost finished like one ball of yarn and I've got 2 more unopened ones left. And I'm just going to keep going. And if I run out of that stuff, I've got other colors and I'll just pick a new color. I just keep knitting my little skinny rectangle. So that's what I do at night. I knit and I watch my movie or maybe treat myself to a Dr. Phil if there's a new episode.
Amazing.
If anyone's got any ideas of what Alana could use her skinny rectangle for,
I know, and you can
please let us know, because I think a great idea for it would be a Halloween costume where you dress up as a mummy.
Oh yes,
it
and
does
you could just
look
wrap it
mummy
like
color.
a giant bandage.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. I've been enjoying your long rectangle updates on your Instagram. Adventures in Naps. If anybody doesn't already follow her, you can also you can check out the pandemic rectangle.
Yeah.
Oh, please call it pandemic rectangle from now on. I love that.
I feel like it's like my prison project. Like instead of like notches on the wall of how long I've been here, it's just like how long can I make this rectangle?
Amazing.
I don't have it. Right.
Everybody just looks at you in horror every time you cough. You're like, no, I just choked a little bit.
I'm just coughing.
Just got it.
So I've got 2 pieces of true crime news for you, and I'm sorry that they're coronavirus related. The first one comes from Argentina. So it's 24-year-old Eric Torrales flew from the US to Argentina to attend a family friend's 15th birthday party. Argentina has this like strict self-isolation rule in place that if you fly there from another country, you must self-isolate. That rule was sort of enforced a day before Eric arrived in Argentina. Instead, a day after landing, he attended a party with around 100 other people. 5 days later, he developed symptoms including breathing difficulties and he attended a clinic. He was admitted into intensive care and later tested positive. Then people at the party started falling ill. So 11 are believed to have been infected by him, including 2 people aged 76 and 79, together with the 15-year-old birthday girl. A further 20 other people who attended the party are also under observation as a precaution. So they're kind of exploring at the moment who else had contact with him. After he returned from the US and after being discharged from hospital, his passport was seized and he's been placed under house arrest. He'll officially be charged for spreading a contagious disease in the next few days, and if found guilty, he could face anywhere between 3 to 15 years in prison.
Holy shit.
Wow.
I just think that's the self-isolation and quarantine and those physical distancing and lockdowns are necessary and they should be adhered to for this very reason.
Exactly. That is literally a case in point of, sorry, Karen and Facebook. You don't, who everyone thinks they're a freaking expert about it. But that just shows it right there. And hopefully no one actually lost their life from it.
Exactly. It's like he infected 11 people and potentially 20 other people. And it's like,
and then if they infected
what if
anybody,
they went out and then did, because they wouldn't know, would you? Like, you don't know.
Yeah. It's almost like, I think with coronavirus, because you don't know that you have it for like quite a long time, I think maybe people don't take it as seriously. Whereas like if you thought like, if you had Ebola and you went to a party, like you would know like, oh my God, I've done such a bad thing. Whereas I don't think it like translates as much now when it should. Like you have an infectious disease, like that could really harm people.
I just think it's reckless.
Well, I don't think people, there's like the experts and then people who are in charge. They're not going to put these extreme measures all over the world, wrecking economies, taking this insane, like, we've never seen anything like this, at least in our lifetime, of course. If it's nothing, do you know what I mean? Like, it's serious. Like, take it seriously. They aren't doing this to just, I don't know. Maybe they are changing the batteries in the pigeons. I don't know, but,
They are. That's unreal. The second, also coronavirus related, and again, I'm sorry, it comes from Manchester in England, where a tenant received the first injunction of its kind for hosting rowdy house parties with up to 20 people at a time. So as we discussed earlier, the UK imposed an effective lockdown. You can only leave your house for essential journeys, blah, blah, blah. And people should not, and one of those rules in the lockdown is that people should not be gathering in groups larger than 2. And if you do, the police have powers to disperse the group and or fine you. So complaints were made by other tenants in the housing association complex that someone was holding parties and therefore disregarding this guidance provided by the government. And an injunction was handed down last Friday, which basically prohibits visitors to the tenants other than their own children, which means that, like, even though you shouldn't be gathering, there's a restriction on that couple in particular to say that, like, no one should visit you apart from your children. And that will stay in place until the restrictions that are currently in place, like the lockdown restrictions, are lifted by the government. I just don't think that we can reiterate it enough. Like, if you can stay at home, stay the fuck at home. Please. And if you don't, you're endangering the vulnerable in our society, which is
exactly
bullshit.
It's not even people are actually, losing their life, people who aren't in their 80s. It's actually affecting younger people. In fact, like, watching stuff, they're sort of saying, they can't always know exactly how somebody's going to react to it. Whereas somebody who actually is healthy and like 25 is losing their life. And I mean, it is more affecting the older people, but you just stay home, people. You're not invincible.
Yeah, you're risking the lives of the people who are providing like essential and valuable services in like healthcare and policing and the fire service as well. Yeah, like, you're endangering people who are keeping the country moving.
Yeah.
Like supermarket staff or the delivery drivers, warehouse staff, takeaway restaurants, please come back. So I just
yeah, I found, like, I'm trying to avoid even going on stuff like, I know you don't have Facebook, Hannah, really anymore, but
thanks. I deleted it off my phone.
Yeah, like social media, because I'm kind of like at that place, but
do it, honestly. I feel so much better. I did it in like the beginning of January, and I just feel like a weight has been lifted.
Fair. I think for me, because of my daughter, I do keep in contact with a lot of my family over it, and like they like to, see pictures of my little girl and stuff like that. And I guess that's kind of my only tie. It's not like, but you go in there, and I've just found that people who you thought were like okay, they're like some of the things that they're doing, you're just like, oh my God, like I didn't know you were like this. Like I gotta say, there's this woman at my gym, and she keeps like going over to this guy she sings Nan's house garage to like lift weights. And then she's going running with another guy. And then she's going out to the store like to buy paint, and then going to another store while she's waiting. And then she's going to the grocery store. And I'm like, so I was like, my blood was boiling. I'm just like, I do not realize what you're doing. You're actually, when you're just like, oh, I can't deal with people anymore. So therefore, I have been trying to just like avoid all of that. So I can't.
Yeah, it's kind of eye-opening to see like people that or family and like friends and stuff, like how they're reacting and everything. Because I know a couple of my friends here actually have had to yell at their parents for going out. I don't know if it's like a particular age group. I know that Dad, if you're listening, I know he's not. I had to yell at my own dad for going out. Because maybe not so much now, because I think it's starting to really sink in like how serious it was. But sort of like last week or so, people were still kind of like, oh, I still want to do this stuff and I still want to go out. It's like, if this drags on because your dumbass went outside and kept getting other people sick, I'm going to be really pissed because I'd like this to be wrapped up as quickly as possible.
Exactly.
Please.
Things to do.
Jesus.
Yes. Exactly. No, exactly. But you're just thinking, and especially when you're there and you're following all the rules. The only time I haven't even been in the store because my husband's the only one that will go. He's doing our essential shopping. The only time I go out is to go for a run, or I take my daughter for like some fresh air, like a little walk, fresh air. Not long.
Yeah.
I'm like literally out there to do what I need to do and I come back, not seeing anyone. And it's very frustrating when people aren't doing it and they don't get that this is just going to drag on and on and on if we don't sort of like start listening.
Yeah, I saw I think it was I can't remember what station, but they were showing in Ontario we call them ride checks, where it's like a cop pulls everybody over to check like if you've been drinking and driving. But they've been doing the same thing in California, but they are pulling people over and asking them, where are you going and where did you come from? So if people are like, oh, well, I was just visiting my boyfriend, they're like, nah, you get a ticket. You shouldn't be out. Next person. Where are you going? Where have you come from? Oh, well, I was, visiting someone. Nah, not allowed. Ticket. It's interesting to see how different places are reacting. And it is serious. Like, pulling people over and literally giving them a ticket for where they've been. I've never seen that before.
No, it's wild.
We had it in the UK, didn't we? Where they police pulled over a car. And there was a man driving and his wife was in the back of the car, but all the seats were down. So she was like effectively in the boot because they'd bought some windows off eBay and he'd like driven to go and collect them. But like then got them in the car and then realised that his wife wouldn't fit in the car. So she just like crawled in the back and like laid down with them.
God.
And they were like, this is non-essential travel. Like, what are you doing? And I think he got fined. It was just like, the rules apply to everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Windows aren't necessary unless your house has no windows and you're going to buy some.
Yeah,
but like
buy them online and have them delivered, like
exactly
a safe distance. I have ordered some stuff online, which what we do is then when we leave the package and then we leave it for a while, like don't open it for like a day, and then my husband will watered down bleach. He like does it with a cloth and does the whole thing, and like then we throw it away, wash hands, just make sure. I know it sounds probably like overkill, but
it's hard to know like what you should like, what's too much and what's not enough. Like you just like we got groceries the other day and we wiped down everything like with the like antibacterial wipe, so you're like wiping down your salad and dressing and stuff, and like I'm not really sure if I should be doing this, but I'm doing it anyway. So
I guess it just kind of makes you feel a little better, like, okay, I think I'm doing something. I think this will help. I don't know, because there's so much information out there, and I think they're still kind of learning about stuff, so it's sort of a, nobody really, the information's evolving of what we should be doing and not doing, so.
Better safe than sorry.
Yeah.
Wipe your salad dressing.
Was it ranch?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I miss ranch.
So I don't think this will be a feature on our podcast forever, but we're going to go to Laurie Corner, which is Laurie Vallow. In Laurie Vallow's wedding pictures, she's seen wearing a wedding ring that's quite distinctive, and that was bought from Amazon for $35.99. And it was purchased 17 days before her husband's first wife died in mysterious circumstances.
Oh.
So Laurie Vallow, if you don't know who she is, she was the one whose children have gone missing and she refuses to tell anyone where they are. So it's this kind of icky. It adds another layer.
I mean, I'm not surprised, but it's still really upsetting.
It is. It's sad. Do you know what? There's some stupid criminals too. Like, when you're just like, it's one of those moments when you're watching like the ID channel with your mozzarella sticks yelling at the TV, like, you idiot, you jumped the door, like, you know what I mean? It's one of those moments, and you're just like, some of the stuff you're just like, this isn't great. I mean, you could have waited a little while. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Jenna, it gets worse though. So all of this happened 3 months after Laurie's husband, Charles Vallow, was shot dead by her brother. So the name on the order is actually Charles Vallow, which indicates that Laurie may have been using her dead husband's Amazon account after his death.
I mean, was it a Prime account? Because, I mean, free shipping. I don't know. No.
I mean, get that sweet
it's
Prime.
It's gotta be Prime.
That Prime video.
Yeah, but, like, that's just... tacky. Like,
another point for this one, Laurie's niece Melanie has also been thrown into the picture. Her ex-husband claims that Melanie knows where JJ and Tylee are and that they were in a plot to kill him. So he's called Brandon, and he believes that he was shot at by Laurie's brother, who is also dead. Brandon also stated that Melanie was scared that he had been possessed by a demon, and she told him that Laurie and Chad Daybell believed that JJ and Tylee had also been possessed and become zombies.
okay, so
I feel like we should have some sort of weird timeline and a family tree, because it's getting really complicated now.
it's getting very
Because
complicated.
the story is the amount of people involved, and then pretty much all of them have died in weird circumstances. And then hearing that they potentially referred to the children as zombies is so upsetting.
It's so upsetting. Those poor children are definitely, I don't think they're with us anymore, are they?
No, there's no way. But it's just like, will they ever find them? Or
so
like,
sad.
we'll just.
Oh, there'll be more updates on Laurie Corner when we have them.
That's the other thing with the pandemic. I think a lot of court stuff has slowed down or stopped for the time being. I know in the UK, the courts have gone on to like telehearings and stuff like that. But obviously, you're not going to have a huge trial on a telehearing, are you? So probably, I would imagine.
I don't know. Are the criminal, because that we deal with like the family stuff. I don't know whether like criminal courts.
The criminal court. They must think it's still going, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. But I wonder if are like the news about like stuff going on, it will I don't know, stop.
I think this is going to be like a Netflix special, like one of those.
It's going to be like a 7-parter for sure. Yeah.
I'll watch every minute of it.
Every minute.
Yeah.
100%.
Did you see her though in some of the pictures in her recent court appearances? She's like wearing red lipstick. And as a red lipstick wearer, Hannah, you feel me? You're literally wearing it right now. This girl even
She's
wears
trying
it
to get in your
in
club.
self-isolation. I know. She's like smiling and wearing red lipstick, and it makes me feel a little like sick because, like, girl, like they're looking for your kids. So
How messed up.
Trashy.
but priorities and all that, you know. Hello, cool cats and kittens. Sorry.
Oh my god.
I really had to say
I knew it.
Oh, it was perfect.
Yes, that's right. It's time to talk about Tiger King, Murder, Mayhem, and Madness, and that really couldn't describe it any better. So it's, in case you're living under some sort of rock, which I know you're not because everyone's stuck in the house, so I know you've seen it, and if you haven't, watch it immediately. It's Netflix's brand new 7-part series that centers around a man known as Joe Exotic, his Oklahoma wildlife park, and his feud with big cat rescuer Carol Baskin. But we know the show is about so much more. This incredible human shit show has cults, guns,
I'm sorry.
rednecks, meth, a murder for hire plot, a gun accident, a questionable disappearance, more meth, a whole bunch of tigers, far too many male ponytails, a missing arm, we got country music, interviews from a bathtub, shirtless interviews, and a whole bunch more rednecks.
That is the
It's like
perfect sum up.
Netflix heard our collective sigh of quarantine boredom and said, hold my beer.
Hell yeah.
All right, so our first introduction to Joe Exotic was last year in season 2 of Wondery's podcast, Over My Dead Body. We did chat about that on our Best of 2019 episode. I remember at the time it was a great podcast, but it didn't really do anything for the insanity of this cast of characters justice. The documentary also opens up to the wider big cat community as well. So rather than retell the whole story, because I would imagine everyone's watched it now anyway, I thought today we could actually chat more about each of the main characters individually, as well as our sort of most WTF moments from the show. And I'll also update you all on some new info that has come to light since it aired and updates on the characters.
Cool.
So, first of all, the first person we're going to chat about. Now, I know there's quite a few in this. But what I've done is I've sort of picked out the major ones that I have thoughts on. There's a lot of thoughts. So obviously our first character, and the weird thing about watching this thing is he's not, but he's almost the most normal one. And I'm going to say like Joe Exotic. Obviously we have to talk about him first. He is now in prison, but as we know, he's sort of the main subject of the story, and he is the previous owner, founder of the GW Zoo. So where do we start with this man? First of all, okay, do you know what? His wardrobe is incredible.
Oh, yes.
The tassels on everything,
he has like
the sequins.
That sparkly jacket, which is almost like tiger print, but it's kind of silver and purple and pink. And I was like, I fucking need it. Like, where can I get it? Oh my God.
We need merch.
We need merch.
Obsessed.
But you could just, did you guys see, like in his zoo gift shop, he has like Joe Exotic face wash, and he has like just like merchandise with him on there. I was just like, what? And when he was running for governor, he was passing out Joe Exotic condoms.
Oh God.
As you do.
Yeah. There's just so much about this character, and there's no doubt he's got some issues. So he is obviously very attention hungry. The man loves attention, very self-obsessed, and definitely has, I think, which ended up sort of getting the better of him. His hair, so we've got that amazing mullet that is bleach blonde. I mean, not many people can pull off a mullet. I mean, I feel like he does kind of pull it off, though.
It fits the whole persona.
It really does. It really does. And he's also a country music singer. He enjoys the music videos, especially, were very special. So, and as we know as well, he's married. When it starts, he's married to John Finlay, who, this is like an odd aspect of the show, which doesn't matter because who cares? But it seems that he has a reputation for sort of marrying and being with with men who generally identify as being straight. And he's sort of, I don't know what's going on there. I think it's a lot of meth. I'm not really sure. And in fact, they highlighted it down the line where I think there was a lot of drug use going on as well, which is really sad, really horrible. And as the story goes on, his eventual downfall is when he gets involved with, I think, Jeff Lowe and his feud with Carol and the things he gets up to, which eventually bankrupts him. And then he gets desperate, doesn't he? So, and that takes me over to our next character, which is Carol Baskin. Honestly. Okay, so she is the owner and founder of Big Cat Rescue in Florida. She is an animal rights advocate, but if I'm honest, she doesn't seem to be doing that much different to what Joe is doing, really. She's going under the ruse of rescuer rather than just being a zoo, because it looks to me like she just has a zoo. They're not any sort of, and then she has free volunteers that she doesn't pay who work for her. And she charges money to come in and see the animals, which, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's sort of what a zoo does, right? Like,
yeah, it kind of sounds like a zoo to me.
I know. So,
a zoo with like slaves.
Yeah, exactly. Like a slave
zoo.
Unpaid labor.
Unpaid labor, exactly. So,
but it's okay if you're there for more than 5 years, you get a different colored T-shirt.
Exactly. But then what? And also, she was really flippant about how some of the people that start intern or whatever, I don't even know their name until they're here for a few years. And you're like, all right, lady, you're not even freaking paying them. Like, it was just, I don't know, it could have been edited poorly where they showed her in a bad light. But I don't know, I have my suspicions. So now I think the big thing with Carol as well is the missing husband. So this takes us down a storyline on this, which has, I think, a lot of people talking. And that is that Don Lewis, I think would be her second husband. So she's married currently now to Harold Baskin, but her second one, Don Lewis, went missing. And nobody has seen him in, I think, actually, I don't know how many years was it. Was it like 10 years or more, 15 years?
I don't know. I think it's longer than that.
I forgot to note that down. It's been a while. He had a lot of money, and apparently he was planning to leave her, and then he disappeared. So my favorite thing, I think, in the whole show, okay, no, there's a lot. There's not just one. There's so many things. But was when she talked about Joe was actually kind of not attacked by one of the tigers, but the tigers wouldn't leave him alone and kind of show him dragging him by the leg around the cage. And it cuts to her saying, well, you know, if you really wanted to, you know, have a tiger attack, you would just cover them in sardine oil. And then she like giggled. And it was like, that was really specific. Like
He's
she just sort of
dragged by his foot, isn't he?
Yeah.
I like that part was actually like quite shocking. You could
Yeah.
tell that he first of all he was like trying to play it off, and then he like actually started to get scared.
Yeah.
And there's a camera pointing at him and people all around him, but no one went to help him.
No.
They
But
were
then
just like
But then I wonder how you do help him.
see how
What
this
do
one
you do?
plays out. Well, he had
Yeah.
a gun. Had a gun on him, didn't he?
Yeah, but I think you
Did he
wouldn't
have a
just.
gun?
I guess you would try not to just kill them straight away. You'd try to like.
No, but
make sure-
I think he fired warning shots, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He
But
did.
still,
didn't he?
like no one
jumped in.
no one intervened, and I found
No.
that really like, oh.
Yeah.
I really hope if I was being attacked by a tiger, someone would be like, oh, try and help her at least.
No, but I just know now with being stuck.
Did you
in
just
the
say
house-
no? Like, no, I wouldn't help her. You're like, no.
No. Sorry. I was gonna go on to say I just know now, actually, that I've started threatening my husband with sardine oil. I have 2 cats. They're not tigers, but still, I'm sure it will work.
House tigers.
You know, hard times. Anyway, love you, honey, if you're listening. So that brings me to the next very strange zoo, to Doc Antle. This guy. All I wrote was this guy, full stop. So I know the story revolved around Joe Exotic, but when it's going on at this Myrtle Beach safari in Myrtle Beach, obviously, don't know why I felt the need to say that, could be a second season in my opinion. He has several wives, and he makes all the women work from like sun up, sundown, pays a minimal amount. They don't have vacations or holidays, and I wrote lots of tits. So that sort of sums up that whole situation. What the hell's going on there? That is definitely a cult. Tell me that's not a cult.
No, it's a cult. And it's not a cult. It's cult-like behaviour because I don't want to get done for libel.
I mean, yeah.
Alleged.
Alleged
It's
cult.
allegedly a cult. I think with the whole like big cat thing, it's a very like seductive lifestyle. Like if you really love them and you get to like pet them and look after them, then you'd kind of do anything to be around them. I can imagine it could be quite addictive.
Yeah.
Not that I'm going to go join any alleged cult.
All right.
But-
Well, I'm watching you.
Sardine on myself. And then, so I get why, Carol Baskin gets all these people to work for free for her, and I don't really understand the whole Doc Antle's 1,000 Wives, but I kind of get it.
But they're all like that. It seemed like all 3 zoos that they sort of talked about or whatever, they all had they were a little cult-like in a way. Like they're getting people to do a lot for nothing. They're very loyal. They're very they're centered on one guy. Even Carol Baskin, they have all these free workers that works for years and years. You shouldn't pay
Maybe
anyone.
it's the people, like if we had a Venn diagram and
Yeah.
you got people who are obsessed with big cats and people who maybe make bad choices, and we've got some kind of like a fairly large overlap in our
The
Venn
circles
diagram.
practically on top of each other.
Yeah, it's just one circle.
No, you're right.
There must be something there. Like, I don't know what it is, the charm of, and I think they actually kind of alluded to that in the show about the appeal of these cats and then the people who are like taming them, I guess, or so maybe that is part of it. So that takes me over to John Finlay, which I mentioned earlier, and he was with Joe's husband, from 2003 to 2014. John met Joe a month after high school and began working at the GW Zoo. And Finlay was actually later on also married in a 3-way ceremony with Joe and another man named Travis Maldonado. So John Finlay, so he does the whole entire interview pretty much shirtless.
Why not?
And
I mean, you do you, mate. Like
It's
he was
just
obviously
Netflix.
like really, really comfortable. Love it.
yeah.
Body
and
positivity, 2020.
And he had 3 teeth through the whole thing. It was interesting. It was interesting. And it does seem that as it went on, he claims that he wasn't actually gay, and it revealed that he was in a relationship with one of the women that worked at the zoo too. So very love triangle-y going on there, and I think it doesn't matter whether he was straight or gay. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. It's not really important. But it was all just so, like, it's very strange. Just the whole situations were all, they all seem to have multiple, like, partners at once.
It's like, instead of a love triangle, we've got like a love rhombus. And
yeah, like a rhombus.
Connected somehow.
I love that. That's amazing. And it's over to Travis Maldonado. So another storyline. I mean, this story just gets crazy. Joe was married to Travis as well, and they met later on. And it was really sad because I think he had quite a lot. They expressed that he had a lot of drug issues, which was quite sad. And you can kind of tell in some of the videos and some of the footage that they had there. And whether I think it was an accident or on purpose, but they did, he either mistakenly on purpose took his life with a gun in a gun accident or in an office. And I thought that was insane that they showed that video of
that CCTV.
The CCTV of the other guy in the office when he does it. Just obviously he's visibly very shocked and doesn't really know what to do. But I was really surprised they showed that.
I thought that was really shocking. That came with absolutely no warning.
No.
Like, because the CCTV footage is focused on one of the zoo employees, and then Travis is like underneath the camera, so you can't see anything. You can't see Travis at all. And you can see them talking, and then you see that flash as the gun goes off, and the guy just sort of puts his hands up, and he's just like frozen.
Yeah, he doesn't move.
And he said, I think he said in the interview, he was like, I knew at that instant he was dead, and I didn't know what to do. And it was just like, he was just frozen for like, and you could see the timer on the CCTV at the top, like clicking.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was freeze frame.
So did I.
Wasn't. And it wasn't. It was just
moving.
like, you could see it, like the seconds tick past, and it's like, holy shit.
Yeah, that was wild. And then it brings me to one of the other most strange things in the whole program was his funeral service, where Joe is dressed up as like a priest with the collar and everything, and talks.
He dresses up like a priest in like other parts of it as well.
Does he?
Yeah,
That's like his go-to costume.
yeah. He's in a music video with it on, and I think he does. Is it the Thanksgiving or something?
Oh.
He puts it on as well.
Yeah.
And it's just,
yeah.
Maybe he is an ordained minister.
Maybe he is. And it's like a weird, do you know, which we haven't talked about yet, but the Saf, he was one of the employees that lost his arm at the zoo and was like back at work 5 days later. But when the accident happened, Joe like threw on an EMT jacket and ran into the zoo gift shop. But would you have that lying around for like emergencies? And he ran in there. But it was amazing because he was like, oh, I'm gonna tell you. Someone's arm just got bit off by a tiger. Yeah. I ran into the gift shop. I was like, what? I'll give you a refund or you can come back at a better time. All right. Shit.
Sorry, I interrupted you. You were talking about his funeral.
Yeah, no, but Travis's funeral. So like Travis's poor mother, bless her heart, is like sitting there in the front row, and Joe's talking about Travis's balls and how he liked to get his balls out and rub them in his face. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what?
That's definitely like wake conversation. It's not
absolutely
ceremony conversation.
Yeah, after you've had a few, Bud Lights, let's bring it up, okay? Mm-hmm. But, when you're standing up there, and then he like breaks into a country song because that's what you do, apparently. But then obviously so Joe obviously really lost it after that. I think a lot of people saying that was even more of like a turning point for him where he just sort of like really lost the plot, which is, I think they said that several times throughout the whole show because it just got incredibly weird.
Can we talk about the trash memorial
That's
pile?
exactly what I'm doing. The trash pile is what I'm going to bring up next.
So sorry. I'm so ready to talk about this.
Yes. So there's a trash pile of it's like his little memorial, and it has Travis like in really big letters, and there just looks like it's like an old four-wheeler like turned over on its side sort of thing, and then like some bunch of stuff on there which I could, trash.
What are they called? Like, are they ATVs?
Yes, the ATV four-wheeler, yeah. Yeah, so I think he liked to ride around on it, and then it's like cordoned off. So it's like, it's got like ropes around it so he wouldn't go near it, which is like fine because I don't think he'd want to. But like, yeah, that was interesting. So Hannah, you actually thought of this question. What would you have on your memorial trash pile?
I've been thinking about this.
Okay.
And I would have, let me get my list. I would have,
She's got a list.
I've literally got a list. I'd have a bottle of red wine, because apparently I'm a drunk. I'd have scaled up versions, like statues of my cats, but I want them like 4 foot tall each.
Oh,
Of course.
I like
Yeah. I'd put my KitchenAid mixer on there.
Nice.
And then I'd put my wedding dress on a mannequin.
Oh my god.
With-
Imagine seeing
with-
that at night.
Yeah, with like my head. Like, not my actual head. 'cause
Okay,
that's
good.
disgusting, but like a bust of my own face on it.
Amazing.
Oh my
What about
god.
Glenda?
Oh, and Glenda. Yeah, 100% Glenda.
Okay, good.
Because that way
Glenda-
no one would touch it. if
No,
you think about
exactly.
it. You put Glenda on it, no one would
Glenda's
touch it.
Hannah's possessed doll.
You can see her on Instagram.
Yes, she's featured.
She will steal your soul.
Alana, what would you have?
I kind of wish I went first after that one.
I know, that was
Sorry.
good.
All I thought of was like if somebody just took like my rubbish bin and just tipped it over after like a week. So like all the shit that I've been
A week of isolation.
Yeah, just like a pile of like sad food wrappers, and you can stick my name in the top of it, on, just a piece of wood, and just my rubbish around it. And I do want like a roped off thing though, because I think that's very classy. So
Very
it'd be a
classy.
roped off thing and just a pile of my garbage.
Nice.
You could put your skinny rectangle on it.
Yes.
Oh, there we
The skinny
go.
rectangle will probably go in the garbage, so it will be with the wrappers and stuff.
You could use it to cordon it off.
Oh, true. Yeah, it has a purpose.
There we go. You're working on your
What about
moral
you,
trash
Anna?
pile. Yeah, I don't know. So I was gonna go along the lines of like my cats. I want my cats to go with me. That's really horrible. My like stuff, but in like poses, like action poses, like with me there. Probably I'd have to say my cheese board that says cheese slut. That's really important. Yeah, and I don't know. It's really difficult. I think I would go with the real things that I love in life. I love television. I love binge watching crime shows. I don't know. Can you put a TV up in there for me? There we go. That kind of like sums up my cats, my cheese, my television. Perfect.
Sounds great.
That's awesome.
Loving it.
So now it brings me to our next one, and that is Jeff Lowe. He appears at the second half of the series as an angel investor, apparently. He offered to have the zoo put in his name once Joe was made bankrupt, and he helped with funding and all that. But really, he ended up sort of taking the zoo away. Joe, when he got on to running for governor, I know that's another storyline we didn't even really get into. He had spent money from like zoo funds on a campaign, which is illegal. Anyway, so Jeff ended up taking the zoo in the end. And he also very much assisted the FBI in taking down Joe on the murder for hire attempt on Carol Baskin. But it was kind of weird. I mean, allegedly, I'm just a lot of alleged, but he seemed very involved in it all, didn't he really? But he's managed to, he just comes across as a massive sleazeball, doesn't he? Like pretty awful. Yeah. Yeah.
I think he had a goal to take the zoo, and he was going to do it any way he could.
Yeah, definitely. And he's got
Allegedly.
And he has a wife, Lim Lauren, which don't know why you'd want to be married to the man. Ugh. But he apparently they once as well have a very open relationship that they talked about. And really, really, I think the thing I hated was at the end of the story, and she's pregnant with their baby, and he like the first thing he says was like, "Yeah, gonna have this baby and get her right back in the gym." I was just like,
Ew.
I know, and talking about gonna find a really hot nanny to bang as well, and I was just like, this man is unbelievably repulsive.
Oh, he got the nanny. I saw her on Instagram.
Yes, well, more about that later.
Yeah.
So he was just so sleazy, so gross. And he's a convicted felon, and he has offenses for domestic violence and animal abuse. So not a good guy, allegedly. The next person that we're going to talk about is James Garretson. Now, he was a local business one. He was also the one. He looks like human form Humpty Dumpty. And he he co-owns like some businesses in the area with Jeff and Joe Exotic. And he's like strip clubs and bars. I didn't really exactly find out where he fit into the story. I know he just had businesses with them, but there wasn't I didn't elaborate too much on that. And he becomes the main FBI informant to take Joe down. And we obviously have to talk about that beautiful scene where he rides in. It's like some serious B-roll. Whoever did the B-roll for this, you're the real MVP.
They must have just been killing themselves.
Yeah.
Like, you can't film that with a straight face.
No. He pulls his shades off too, doesn't he?
And the little life jacket.
The life jacket hanging on for dear life. Yeah, that guy was something else. It was like, cut your hair, dude. Like, how old are you? He had that haircut of I don't know, you don't usually have past the age of 6 or 7 as a little boy. I don't know. It's very strange. Anyway, but they all seem to really like hair in this program. And then our final one I wanted to chat about, mainly because of one scene, and also he was just an odd one. One of the odd ones was Alan Glover. So he was Jeff's employee that then went to work at the zoo as well. But him and Joe really didn't get along. And he was the apparent turned hitman. And I just have to talk about his interview in the pink bathtub.
I don't understand.
Say those words out loud. For a documentary, his interview in the pink bathtub.
It was just yeah. Apparently, though, he chickened out, which he seemed really skeptically sort of said on the show, too. He didn't really mean it. It's very strange. Apparently, chickened out and spent the money on blow and strippers, as you do. Yeah, so he was another interesting character. Now, there's obviously quite a few more. There was just a lot of them, but we could go on forever otherwise. Anything you guys really want to mention before I just let you know of a few little updates that we have left on things that have come out since it's aired?
I think what's really interesting is when we listened to Joe Exotic, which I think was last summer, because I remember listening to it, and I go for a run outside and it was really nice. And we sort of talked about it. It was a good podcast. It was a really interesting story, but it wasn't holy shit. And then you kind of forget about it. We listen to so much stuff. It just kind of gets put in the background. And then this documentary comes out and you see what these people look like. And it is so much more. It never should have been a podcast.
No.
So much of it is the visual. It's like a visual trash pile, and you need to see it.
Absolutely.
100%.
You nailed that. Absolutely. I thought the podcast was pretty good, It was an interesting story. Does nothing on, you have to see the people. That's such a big part of it. What about you, Hannah? Anything else you want to add that you particularly enjoyed or didn't enjoy?
It was just, how many episodes are there?
7.
6, 7? Yeah, 7. There was just so much happening that I could barely digest it. It's I barely remember some parts of it, because by the time I digested one scene, the ridiculousness of the next scene just wiped it from my brain. And it was just, it was fantastic and I really enjoyed watching it. But oh my God, there was just so much going on.
So much. I feel like you can watch it
I can't imagine.
Times.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Doing a 7-part story, there must have been things on the editing room floor that didn't make it in, and that I'm just that makes my mind blow to imagine that they cut things out.
I know. I didn't obviously mention that much about is it Rick Kirkman? He was the guy that was making the reality show of Joe Exotic. Can you imagine the footage that was lost in that fire?
Oh my God.
I know. So good.
A tragedy.
I know. That's the real tragedy here. We don't get to see any of that. Also, had you not heard of a cloud, man? Come on.
Yeah, store your data correctly. Don't store it in the alligator house.
Exactly. Not in the alligator house. Okay, so just a few little bits that have come out since the documentary has literally taken over the world. So Carol's ex before her current husband So she dated someone after Dawn and before she married Harold Baskin. He has new accounts of what happened that have come to light that his name's Jay Bacal, who sought a restraining order against her, it was actually denied by the court, but it made some bold claims. Obviously, this is alleged, but they have the forms which he filed in 2002. Jay filed a restraining order against Carol, which included some bizarre and suspicious sounding details regarding Dawn's disappearance. Part of the restraining order application read, her prior husband, presumed dead, one day, she said to me when I asked her, what happens if your husband shows up now? Her response was, dead bodies can't talk.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, that doesn't really help the whole suspicion. Obviously, that was actually denied because they didn't find sufficient imminent harm, but it's still an interesting point. And I'm going to put all my sources, will be on our website where I got all this information, all the articles. And also, big news, John Finlay, he got new teeth.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So he actually, I'm not going to lie, he's pretty cute now. Like, I don't know, he looks pretty normal. The earrings are out, the teeth are not, I mean, it just looks like a regular dude. He looks great. Yeah, so there was that. Okay, next up. It's not mostly Joe singing on the show. So those country music isn't really Joe singing on most of that, which you guys might have read that already.
No. What?
Yes. So in multiple...
Yes.
Yeah, I know. Big
I'm
shocker.
so shocked.
Which is even worse.
How dare
What are
you lie
you
to
doing?
me?
What is the point? Like, what are you doing?
How are you lying to us?
In multiple episodes, Joe brags about his singing career and songs such as I Saw a Tiger are heard. But anyone with ears can tell that polished country music veteran voice crooning the tunes doesn't sound anything like Joe Exotic's drawling speaking voice. Real musicians, Vince Johnson and Danny Clinton, were the real musical power behind Joe's Milli Vanilli act. Johnson told Vanity Fair that they worked for free, thinking they'd earn some fame from a reality show about Joe's life. Actually, sadly, Clinton died in October, TMZ reports. Yeah, the show's director, Eric Good, and Rebecca Chelkin, I might have butchered that, told the LA Times that a fact checker discovered that Joe did sing somewhat on certain songs. So that's why they chose not to, like, out him in the program. But yeah, big shocker there. Next up, the alligators were famous. So we were just talking about them, the alligators that actually all died in that fire we spoke about. Tiger King is mostly about big cats, although the reptile residents of the park have a sad storyline in one of the episodes when their enclosure catches fire. John Finlay told David Spade in a video interview recently that some of the alligators at the exotic animal park came from Michael Jackson's Neverland Ranch.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, random. And finally, I've got two more. All right, I've got two more to share. One is Doc Antle also shares the stage with Britney Spears at the 2001 VMAs, that iconic snake around her neck. So, do you know, obviously, the yellow, like, boa, was boa constrictor? I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a
Big
ass
yellow snake.
Yeah, right. And she has it around, and she, like, walks down the stairs. I'm doing it right now. You can't see me. It's a podcast, but yeah, so in the background is, like, Doc Antle with his, like, hair and a tiger. You know, like, you see all the hair and the tiger, which was interesting little fact there.
I think it's on Lenny Kravitz's daughter's Instagram page.
No.
I think I tagged you in it, but no one responded.
I didn't see it.
And it's,
I didn't see it.
No.
And she was just like, this is important, you must look at this. And it's just like shots of it. And then at the end it's got like Doc Antle. I'll see if I can find it and I'll send it again. But
Oh yeah, I'll post it on the socials.
It's really good.
Definitely. And my final little fact, Joe Exotic had another husband that identified as straight before John, Travis, and Dylan. He married Dylan later in the documentary, another man. But the reason I bring this one up is, so he had this other husband, which the fourth husband, that he was married to before John Finlay and after his first husband, Ryan Rain, because his first husband died in 1991. But the man he was married to, J.C. Hartpence, little is known about Hartpence, but he's currently in prison for murder he committed when they were divorced. Just another little, like, person in the story gone awry.
Wow.
Yes. So, I think that's all I have for this. But obviously, if you haven't watched it, watch it. I don't know how you can... I know you've got nothing else to do. So, watch it. So, what would you rate this out of 5? You first, Alana.
I mean, you gotta go a solid 5 out of 5. It's unlike anything I've seen, really. And even already knowing the story, like, that doesn't matter. It's so much more. And it's just like, I mean, it's kind of information overload, like Hannah was saying. But yeah, I'd say 5 out of 5.
Yeah, I'd go 5. I'd definitely go 5 out of 5 as well.
Yeah, I'm 5 out of 5. Guys, if you haven't watched this, like, what are you doing with your life? Like, it's amazing. Definitely, all the murder friends agree. It's a hit.
Weird crime time.
So this isn't technically a crime, but I think it's weird enough for this slot. And I think, Anna, you shared this one. So we're going to go to Florida.
Oh, Florida.
Yay.
Always
Florida,
doesn't let us down, you know?
Yeah, so we're going to go, so Bryant Culpepper, who is the county commissioner for Okeechobee County in Florida, said in an emergency meeting to address the pandemic that if you take a hairdryer, point it up your nose and turn it on, and inhale the hot air, it will kill the virus. So this is, according to Culpepper, because the nasal passages and the membranes are where the coolest part of the body, and that's where the virus settles before going into the lungs. So if you heat it up, you'll be fine. He said he got his information from a doctor that appeared on the One American News Network. And as if this wasn't enough, he then said, there's a lot of baloney out there on social media.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're not wrong.
But it gets worse, because then Lake Okeechobee News, like the local news station for that county, published an article about his claims, which he promptly shared with the caption, "Great article for those who don't have medical insurance." So One American News Network, which is the apparent source of Culpepper's claims, conducted a review of all of its media, and they confirmed that they never said anything of the sort. They did, however, post an article on their website after this, which debunks the claim entirely. The World Health Organization has a Mythbuster website page, which clearly states that hot air will not kill the virus, hand dryers will not kill the virus, hair dryers will not kill the virus. Like, it's fairly explicit. Now, at this point, do we expect Culpepper to apologise for spreading this misinformation and saying he was wrong?
I bet
I don't know, it's Florida.
It's Florida. He's probably going to double down.
Hell, he doesn't. He goes back on social media and says, quote, direct quote, "I was only trying to give comfort to those in Okeechobee who have no insurance to treat their families," end quote. And, quote, "I will not offer any more suggestions unless they are tried and proven. All I ask is for your forgiveness for anything offensive that I uttered during these exchanges. God bless and soften your hearts," end quote.
Oh my God. How about you just leave it to, like, the professionals? How about you just leave it to them and you just don't say anything?
I bet all the people with, like, singed nose hairs are not, like, that appreciative.
They're like, what? I mean, I don't think that he knew that he was spreading misinformation, because I think he believed that his information was correct.
He's an elected goddamn official. That's scary. What? Like,
Yeah, but, like,
what are we
exactly.
trusting him with?
You should know better. But I think, like, it begs the question, what do you think the punishment for spreading misinformation should be during this pandemic? I think it should be prison.
Yeah.
Straight up prison.
It's so difficult because there is so much going on, especially, like, on Facebook, you know, like we talked about before. It's just a hell site. But if you are in that position of power and to be saying things like that, like, that should be some sort of violation of your duty as an elected official. Like, that could be really dangerous and harmful to people.
100%.
Definitely.
God.
So that's the end of Weird Crime Time. All of the sources will be on our website, as with all the sources from the news section above, which I forgot to mention.
Please don't use a hairdryer on your face or any part of your body, actually.
Apart from your hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
That's fine. But otherwise, no. Thanks for listening, guys. I think that's all we have for today. We've got it. It's an extra long episode, actually. You can email us at murderfriendspod@gmail.com. Check out our website, murderfriends.com. You can see all of our sources there, as we mentioned before. Instagram, murderfriendspod. Twitter, murderfriendspd. Send us anything you're watching or recommend for us to check out during this time, or any weird crimes or true crime news that you think we should take a look at. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.